We're back.
We're back.
Nobody saw it coming. We didn't even see it coming.
We didn't see it
Yeah, we
coming.
didn't see it coming.
Today we want to talk about why we stopped watching Sadhguru and other spiritual teachers. We got 3 points written down, and we think some of them are probably applicable to your lives as well.
So yeah, first of all, we wanted to say that it wasn't just we stopped reacting to them. We also stopped watching them because we would both watch a good amount of, especially me at some points, we'll watch a good amount of like content outside of the channel.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of brings us into the first reason why we both realized it was time to stop watching spiritual teachers so much, which was that I personally noticed, I think you noticed too, a lot of people in our comment sections, but also in ourselves, quoting spiritual teachers all the time. Like, I noticed that my cadence and the way I spoke and the things I spoke about started to really resemble the people who I was listening to the most, aka Sadhguru.
Wow. Yeah.
And when I did that, and when I saw a lot of the people in the comment sections pretty much repeating word for what Sadhguru said, I think it's great to spread his messages, spread the things he says, because I do think the way that he speaks and his logic and the way he moves through things is incredible. However, I think one of the big things it pointed to, at least in myself, was that I was realizing I could say so many things about enlightenment and how life goes and how life is supposed to go and the truth about the universe, and I could say it all, but I didn't feel it. And I wasn't living it.
Right. Like it wasn't embodied.
It wasn't embodied.
Yeah.
We were learning that the viewing spiritual teachers and listening to spiritual teachers is a completely cognitive activity.
Yeah.
Like, you are just up here and you're just having these mind epiphanies, like this, like, oh, that's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is amazing. And it helps you and it puts you on to these different paths that then you can follow. However, it's so different to say, like, oh, I understand that we're all one. And then you're put into a situation where you actually are standing across from someone who you really disagree with, and you're in a difficult situation, and you're trying to figure out how to navigate this.
Yeah.
And in that space, you completely lose any sort of spirituality, any sort of love for that person, and you become very aggravated and aggressive.
Yeah.
And it was like, I could say that we're all one. That is not embodied.
It's like you have to embody it by yourself over time. It just happens at some point.
Yeah, I've had this realization recently that my life was like 80% thinking, 20% doing. And that made me realize that the big thing for me right now is flipping those two.
Dude.
And like,
yes.
Can I 80% of the time just take action and see what happens? And then 20% of the time reflect on that and gather new insights for next time.
Like this is part of the 20%
Yes.
where we genuinely love doing this. Like this is really fun for us talking about this stuff. And then, for the 80% of the rest of the time, and then go. It's like after and then go. And then it's like, okay, let's like take those. Let's like see what we can do with them. Let's go see what we can do with them.
I guess we sort of went into point 2 there too.
Yep.
First point was the fact that we're not living it and wasn't embodied,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore we realized it's time to step away from listening to people so much and to really connect with what it is that, why we like spirituality, what oneness means to us, any of those things.
Any of the things, yeah.
And the second is this feeling of knowing everything, being like, oh, I got it figured out.
Yeah.
But then your reality doesn't reflect that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's another big thing. And the last thing, point 3, was something that Mitch was saying that I thought was really good.
Yeah.
You want to lead us into that?
It's basically the feeling that has come through my last, like for me, in my last like 8 months or so. There was just this one period where it all just came to me like so strongly that like, oh my gosh, I have totally lost myself in these teachers. Let me just describe what that means to me. Like lost like the essence of who I am as a person. The things that like make me feel alive, like happy to be living.
Can you give me an example?
The way that I would just exist on a day-to-day basis. I am someone who goes through so many emotional fluctuations throughout one day.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be up here and then I'm down here and I'm all over the place. And honestly, I consciously do that. I appreciate that that's a part of myself. And through the teachers, learning about awareness, learning about equanimity and remaining here centered all the time, I was trying to do that. I was trying to force myself to do that. And I mean, you would have noticed like going throughout life with me, I was just trying to be like this. And so it was just like almost like I was flatlining all of a sudden. And that's not me. That's never been me. It's never going to be me. I wasn't pursuing anything in the world. Like I've realized that I want to be someone who exists in the world. I don't want to be an ascetic who just like kind of goes off like that's someone else's thing. That's not my thing. And it's like for a while I was almost convinced that it was my thing. You know? So it's like, yeah.
Those are some...
And it's just, it's crazy because of course, stuff about India, me going to India will just come up naturally. Like I don't really feel inclined to like make a video on it, but I do want to talk about it here and there. And it's just like, that's what brought me to this space was like going to India. And then all of those like things just broke. And I just realized that it's like, it's always been me. And I'm only ever searching for myself and like what essence of me is. It's not, I don't need to just go like, no one else can tell me what that is. No one. Yeah.
I was going back on the channel because we've been talking about firing Learn With Us up again. talking about getting some more content going. And I was going back and looking at our branding. And first of all, I've been doing a lot of branding work over the last bit. Like that's what I've been doing for my job. Looked at the old stuff we were doing. And I was like, dude, we sucked at design. We sucked to make it very complex thing. Like everything was so complex.
So complex, yeah.
But one thing that struck me was that the tagline that we were going with was made by seekers for seekers.
Yeah, right.
Or something like that.
Right.
And what I realized is that the word seeker is not something I identify with anymore.
Same. Yeah.
And I don't care to be a seeker anymore.
Yeah.
I care to be found.
Nice.
You know, like I care that it's me.
Yeah.
And seeking is this constant needing to go somewhere. And there's just...
And that's not where we're at right now.
Yes.
Like, that's okay.
Yes.
We were at that point.
Yes.
Like a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yes. And that's
we are not
that's
there
why we
right
were
now.
cranking on Learn With Us.
Yeah, we were
cranking. Like and that's another thing that we should make clear is that we're not trying to put anyone down or anything who's watching a ton of spiritual reactions. I do think this could be something that you could look at yourself in the mirror and be like, why am I watching these teachers all the time?
Yeah.
Is it doing something for me? If it's doing something for you, fantastic.
It served me for a while.
Great.
It served me. Like I would not be here right now being able to say all these things if that period didn't happen in my life.
Yeah.
It feels like I'm just on the other side of it.
Yeah. And realized that as we talk about a lot on this channel, that life just goes through cycles where it feels like you're shedding whatever it is, different baggage that you picked up throughout life and becoming more and more your essence. Like recently I realized I have an open mind. Like my mind has been opened. And that I've always heard people say that.
Yeah.
Like a free mind, an open mind, free thinker. And only now do I feel like I've actually arrived at that place where literally anytime something comes up, it feels like my perspective on it, I can go like, boom, this perspective, boom, that perspective, boom, 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 boom,
Nice.
boom. Have a ton of different perspectives. And once I did that, it feels like I was watching every spiritual teacher and I could see perspectives of why they were wrong and perspectives of why they were right.
Yeah.
And just like different lenses that I could put on to see it that way, which started to feel like, whoa, it doesn't feel like there's anything here
Yeah.
that's like real. And that's a scary feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that feels like in this whole big cycle, it took me way away from myself because all of a sudden there's nothing to grab onto because everything can be viewed in any way.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so now that it's pretty much all rubble,
Yeah.
what's left?
Yeah.
And that has felt like the journey of the last months has been like, what actually is there? Is there something that is like, I like to use the word like a frequency, like a vibration, a way of being, an energy that is truly Eli.
And that's where it comes to.
Yes.
Where it comes to is it feels like for me all the things kind of explode. Like exploded. All the spiritual teachings all just exploded for me. And it's like I imploded back on myself. And it was like boom, that's what happens when the rubble's there. It's like you just fall into yourself. It's like, oh well, I'm the one. It's not yeah.
Well, that answer took us to some places. I was not expecting that.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's why you clicked on the video.
And that brings us on to the, I guess, more final things we want to say. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was there anything else about spiritual teachers that you wanted to talk about?
I feel like it's going to come up as it comes up for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to force
Nice.
talking about it
Yeah.
or like, any of that stuff. So let's just,
And I'd love to hear from you guys because a lot of you were with us through that whole ride.
Yeah.
Watching like millions of spiritual videos every day.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of you are still on that train. I'm sure some of you got off at different times, on and off, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Would love to hear about where you're at, how you relate to those things, if any of that resonates with you.
Yeah.
However, this type of conversation where it's like, whoa, all this stuff just came out that Mitch and I haven't really talked about
Yeah.
at all in depth.
That's true.
That was one of the big things we were missing about this channel. At least I was.
Me too.
Was this feeling of like sitting down, reflecting, and also exploring deeper into the experiences of ourselves or of other people that we're listening to, different teachers, and like getting to these points of having a little like, whoa,
Yeah.
that is what happened, or that does feel right, and uncovering these clues with each other and with others.
Yeah. It's like just a different form of like when I'm by myself meditating and I'm like sifting through things that are happening in my life. It's just nice to like say it out loud and just talk about it. And also from my experience, nice to hear it. So why I feel like it could be nice for some people.
Yeah.
Why we're filming this basically is like sometimes I hear other people talk about their stuff or like some epiphany that they had.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shoot, that like totally relates to me. Like I kind of understand myself a little bit better, just a little bit better after hearing that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah.
And what that made us realize is that we would love to start making more content on this channel based in that core.
Yeah.
This core of like, we're not trying to be your guru, tell you how to live your life. What we are here to do is to walk this path with you and with our friends. And we want to get more friends in here.
Yeah.
More variety of teachers, or even just like little bits of a book that we find interesting.
Anything that we're interested in or inspired by.
Yeah, and branch away from just spirituality into also just like physical reality stuff, such as what do you value in life? That's been a big question for me and some friends, because again, once you get to that rubble, it's like is there something that matters, or are you walking as this like completely unattached thing?
Yeah.
Because it's interesting with someone like Sadhguru, you see that clearly he has some sort of ability to be unattached to everything.
Yeah.
But he has very strong stances. You
Yeah.
know? Like Save Soil.
Right.
What I find a very brilliant initiative and super important. And he's like standing for something.
Yeah.
But you would think this guy who's like disintegrated, has no sense of self, wouldn't necessarily care because he's just like on Earth for however long.
Yeah, and finding that sort of energy in ourselves, I think, is super valuable. Like finding that it's a balance that I've been like literally I was just thinking about it yesterday a ton. It was like, how do I strike the balance between like letting go of everything? Because I know that all the amazing thing that's ever happened in my life has always happened when I've either let go by my own will or have been sort of forced to let go. Because I've, it's like after you cry, you didn't actively let go. It just dropped. You just can't hold on to it anymore. How do I balance that sort of feeling with like actually participating and existing in the world and doing the things I love? And it's like, you could look up to people like that, like Sadhguru, and be like, hey, I see you, and I'm gonna embody that energy in myself. I'm not gonna do the same thing because that's not me. Yeah. I'm gonna embody that energy in myself and draw inspiration. So that's the type of Yeah,
and we realized we were thinking yesterday, we were like, why do people even care about Learn With Us? What value does it bring into people's lives? And that made us think, what value does any sort of like podcast or listening to a teacher bring? And it feels like it is that experience of almost seeing a mirror of like, this person went through these things, and that them expressing that makes me perceive myself and my life in new ways.
Or like validates things that you're going through.
Yes.
Like I hear people like in podcasts sometimes, the most inspiring things that I've heard on like podcasts and stuff is it just like validates what I'm going through. It makes me feel like either okay about it or allows me to like follow something or just like opens me up a little bit,
And having good conversations with friends is that too. Yeah. And that I feel like that's at the core for us is like trying to get more friends in here and also communicate with you guys because this journey is better when you got the homies around.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
So that being said, do you like the idea?
Yeah.
Do you want more Learn With Us?
Reopening the book. We're just on the same page right now. Like it just all of a sudden hadn't talked about it. But
I brought the other day. I was like, I feel like we should fire up Learn With Us again. And I said that in a group of Mitch and two of our other best friends. And Mitch just goes, what? Like I was thinking that this morning.
Yeah.
And neither of us had communicated
and
about it.
I hadn't thought about that. Since we stopped doing the channel, I've never thought that.
Yeah. Weird. The universe.
That's all for today.
Yeah. So if you guys got topics or anything that you want to go into with us,
hit us
leave them below.
Yeah. Do the thing.
And besides that, I hope that you are all doing very well. I hope that some of the old heads are back in the comment section.
That'd be pretty crazy.
Or just viewing this.
Yeah.
And I hope you're well.
Yeah.
Hope you're also going through some crazy transformation that's bringing you closer to your core. Because that's the good.
It's that good.
It's that good.
All right. I'm really stoked about this.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Much love, folks.
Peace.